so cringy. Twilight. I've had this book for like 2 months, and I just haven't had the chance to read it. So I figured, what better time than right now in this very moment? um, yeah. So I'm gonna get into it now and stop rambling. Let's just get into it. There's like a little preface. I don't know how to say it. I'm going to skip that because that's boring and I don't want to read it. So we're gonna skip it. Okay, chapter 1. First sight. My mother drove me to the airport with the windows rolled down. It was 75 degrees in Phoenix, the sky a perfect cloudless blue. I was wearing my favorite shirt, sleeveless, with white eyelid trimming. I was wearing it as a farewell gesture. My carry-on item was a parka. In the Olympic Peninsula of Northwest Washington State, a small town named Forks existed under a near-constant cloud. It rains on this inconsequential town more than any other place in the United States of America. It was from this town and its gloomy, omnipresent shade that my mother escaped with me when I was only a few months old. I was in this town that I'd been compelled to spend a month every summer until I was 14. That was the year that I finally put my foot down. These past 3 summers, my dad Charlie vacationed with me in California for 2 weeks instead. It was to Forks that I now exiled myself, an action that I took